for problemerne, den samarbejder godt med energi. Alle her til forsamlingen. Alle her til forsamlingen. Alle her til forsamlingen. Alle her til Sri Sri Guru Gaura. Krishna, Krishna, Srimad Bhakti Swami Namaste Saraswati Gaura Prachayani Shishashuni Vaste Saraswati Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam's 6th canto, chapter 9, the appearance of the demon Vritrasura, and it is 45, isn't it? Which is not written on the board. Huh?
It's wrong shloka.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll read in Sanskrit. We take word by word. Hansaya,
Hansaya,
Dara,
Dara,
Ilayaya,
Ilayaya,
Sakhaya,
Sakhaya,
Krishnaya,
Krishnaya,
Mristaya, Shase,
Mristaya, Shase,
Nirupakramaya,
Nirupakramaya,
Satsangrahaya,
Satsangrahaya,
Bhavapanta Nitya Asrama Apto,
So
Ante, Parishtagataye,
Parishtagataye,
Haraye,
Haraye, Namaha, Te,
Hansaya Dada, Nilayaya, Niriksakaya, Krishnaya, Mristaya, Sase, Nirupakramaya, Sat Samgrahaya, Bhavapanta Nityasramapto, Vante Parishtagataye, Haraye, Namaste, Hansaya,
Hansaya,
unto the most exalted and pure,
unto the most exalted and pure,
Pavitram Paramam, the supreme pure,
Pavitram Paramam, the supreme pure,
Dara,
Dara,
in the core of the heart,
in the core of the heart,
Ilayaya,
Ilayaya,
whose abode,
whose abode,
Niriksakaya,
Niriksakaya,
supervising the activities of the individual soul,
supervising the activities of the individual soul,
Krishnaya,
Krishnaya,
unto the super soul,
unto the super soul,
who is a partial manifestation of Krishna,
who is a partial manifestation of Krishna,
Mristaya Shase,
Mristaya Shase,
whose reputation is very bright,
whose reputation is very bright,
Nirupakramaya,
Nirupakramaya,
who has no beginning,
who has no beginning,
Sat Sangrahaya,
Satsangrahaya,
understood only by pure devotees,
understood only by pure devotees,
Bhavapanta Nitya Asrama Apto,
Bhavapanta Nija Asramasu,
being attainment of the shelter of Krishna,
being attainment of the shelter of Krishna,
for persons within this material world,
for persons within this material world,
Ante,
Ante,
at the ultimate end,
at the ultimate end,
Parishtagataye,
Parishtagataye,
unto him who is the ultimate goal,
unto him who is the ultimate goal,
the highest success of life,
the highest success of life,
Haraye,
Haraye,
unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Namaha,
Namaha,
respectful obeisances,
respectful obeisances,
Te, unto you.
unto you.
Translation: O Lord, O Supreme Pure, you live within the core of everyone's heart and observe all the desires and activities of the conditioned souls. O Supreme Personality of Godhead known as Lord Krishna, your reputation is bright and is illuminating. You have no beginning, for you are the beginning of everything. This is understood by pure devotees because you are easily accessible to the pure and truthful. When the conditioned souls are liberated and sheltered at your lotus feet, after roving throughout the material world for many millions of years, they attain the highest success of life. Therefore, O Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, we offer our respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. Purport: the demigods certainly wanted Lord Vishnu to relieve their anxiety, but now they directly approach Lord Krishna. For although there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu, Krishna descends to this planet in his Vasudev feature for the purpose of Parichunaya Sadhanam Vinashayatu Skritam, protecting his devotees and annihilating the miscreants. Demons or atheists always disturb the demigods or devotees, and therefore Krishna descends to punish the atheists and demons and fulfill the desire of his devotees. Krishna, being the original cause of everything, is the Supreme Person above even Vishnu and Narayan, although there is no difference between these different forms of the Lord. As explained in Brahma Samhita 546, Viparcha eva hita santalam apyopecha vipayate vibita hetu samana dharma yastatrik eva hita vishnutaya vipati govindam avipurusham tamanam bhadyami. Krishna expands himself as Vishnu the way a bright candle kindles another. Although there is no difference between the power of one candle and another, Krishna is compared to the original candle. The word Mrishtaya Sase is significant herein because Krishna is always famous for relieving his devotee from danger. A devotee who has sacrificed everything for the service of Krishna and whose only source of relief is the Lord is known as the Kinchana. As expressed in the prayers offered by Queen Kunti, the Lord is the Kinchana Vita, the property of such a devotee. Those who are liberated from the bondage of conditioned life are elevated to the spiritual world where they achieve 5 kinds of liberation: Sayuja, Salokya, Sarupya, Sarsti, and Samipya. The person who associates with the Lord in 5 mellows: Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. These rasas are all emanations from Krishna. As described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the original mellow Adi Rasa is conjugal love. Krishna is the origin of pure and spiritual conjugal love. Hamsaya Dana Nilayaya Niliksakaya Krishnaya Mrishtaya Sase Nirupakramaya Sat Sangrahaya Bhavapanta Nityasramato Ante Parishta Gataye Haraye Namaste. O Lord, O Supreme Pure, you live within the core of everyone's heart and observe all the desires and activities of the conditioned souls. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Lord Krishna, your reputation is bright and is illuminating. You have no beginning, for you are the beginning of everything. This is understood by pure devotees because you are easily accessible to the pure and truthful. When the conditioned souls are liberated and sheltered at your lotus feet after roving throughout the material world for many millions of years, they attain the highest success of life. Therefore, O Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, we offer our respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. Om Magyana Simaranda Shyakinandana Salakya Chaksunviyatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Bhachalam Pangum Nangaiti Krim Yat Kripataraham Vande Shri Gurum Dinutarinam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutare Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sanamni Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Prachayini Nirvishesha Shunyavani Prastyachari Satayini Vancha Kalpatruvyascha Kripa Sindhuryacha Patitanam Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. So actually it should have been Madhavasraya supposed to lecture this morning. also, and he has altar service. So that's actually abnormal. It's not meant, the temple president is not meant to be the one who is supposed to run around and do everything, or be overwhelmed by, he has to do it because there's no one else to do it. Of course, he'll do it, it's glorious, but it's not normal. The leader is someone who's, he's willing to do anything, and everyone knows that he is willing to do anything that isn't need to be done. That was say that about Napoleon actually. I heard that was one thing that was why he was such a powerful leader. You can imagine. Of course, I don't know how much we know about Napoleon. I don't know much about Napoleon myself, but he must have been an incredible leader. He actually came up he was just a soldier. He was a simple soldier himself. He came up, worked himself, or rose up through the ranks and files of the French military, became lieutenant, gradually became I don't know exactly, general, and in the end he became the emperor of the whole world practically. Of course, and then he was defeated, and so that's another point. But he must have had an incredible ability to gather and inspire others around him, and and of course also organize, and so on. And he got carried away. He became also somewhat crazy. Because he became so powerful, as far as I understand. But nevertheless, one thing that the ability he had was that he was extremely attractive. That everyone knew that he was willing to do anything. There was nothing that the simple foot soldier was doing that Napoleon would not willing to go in and do himself. Everyone knew it. He did it sometimes, and but also he has. Then also they realized he had better abilities. Why don't we do the simple stuff that we can figure out? We don't have brains for anything else. We do that. He will do whatever, So that's in this sense, that's I just again, I have not read anything about Napoleon since I went to regular school, but just somewhere just came across some mention like that. That was everyone knew that he was willing to do anything that what all the others were doing. He was not a general that was hiding, behind a desk, and while he was sending soldiers out and fighting, he was out in front of the battlefield fighting. And we know that's also the big Kshatriyas. The big Kshatriyas, they are if there's war, the big Kshatriya is in the front, and all the other soldiers follow him. Not like today, they have, all the big powerful leaders, they are declaring war, and then they're sending soldiers out, and they themselves are sitting behind their desks, and they're given, they're giving interviews to the journalists on the TV and talking about the honor of the nation, but they themselves are not out. They're not the ones who have to be killed. Putin would have to go out and be killed. Obama would have to go out and be the ones who were killed. Then maybe they would be a little more hesitant to cause wars in this world. That's actually so. But that's as I say, that's a leader like the temple president. Yes, everyone knows he's willing to do anything, and we also see in our case he is doing everything. But then again, he should not be doing everything. It's not normal. I'm not saying this is right now, but we should understand it's not meant to be like that. The real and all questions are always after the lecture, and the proper functioning situation is actually the leader's not doing anything. He knows what is going on, but he's not doing anything. That's if you have on a ship, the ideal situation on the ship is that the captain is not doing anything, everyone else is doing it. but he's there. He's there for the people. He's also, everyone knows he's there for them. Like that. That's the ideal situation. So anyway, that's why I'm sitting here, and that's actually, I'm not meant to sit here. But it's also relevant because, of course, this is a verse of somewhat high philosophy, but also our philosophy has a lot to do about how do we translate the philosophy into the practical circumstance we're in. We have to connect. We have this high philosophy, we have our situation here, how do we connect them, how do we bridge the gap? This is actually the real art, and this is where, knowing this art is what separates those who are really serious and dedicated devotees, and those who are pretending or materialistically motivated devotees. We see that with Prabhupada, he was able to translate this philosophy into practical. What does it mean to be Krishna conscious here? Right here where we are now. How are we Krishna conscious, and how do we understand how this philosophy relates? Well, the philosophical points which are given here, they are being revealed. It says here to those who take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Then one can understand all the intricacies of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and not only theoretical, but one actually be able to actually enter into it. Because as we think it is not connected, but it is very much connected because we are sitting we're in the middle of Krishna's pastime. Everything is Krishna's pastime. The material world is also part of Krishna's pastime. We disconnected from it. How do we become connected to Krishna's pastime? This is really what it's all about. And how to do that? Well, when we take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, how do we do it? What does it mean practically? And this has a lot to do with what I said also to start with, that we are in a situation, we are a group of devotees. Our taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet is to work amongst us as a group of devotees. Cooperating. That is the key word. It's practically. And it's not even anything superficial, the word cooperate. We might think it's just practical, we have to cooperate, and like in the material world also business people, and they know cooperation makes better business, but it's not really the goal. But it's actually, when Swarup writes, I think I mentioned, when Swarup, he wrote a book, small book, it was mentioned in the GBC resolutions, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. So, and it's very, very excellent reading matter, and I think everyone's recommended to read that, to really understand, you might say, the tattva of Srila Prabhupada. And one thing that is very, really is this mood of cooperation. Prabhupada was always into cooperation. Of course, he had problems because the Gaudiya Math, they could not cooperate. Prabhupada wanted to cooperate with the Gaudiya Math. He was hoping that, before he went to America, he could cooperate and find God brothers who was willing to help in the mission like that. But he couldn't, so he had to go on his own. But even when he was in America, he was writing letters to different God brothers, why don't we do this together? It's a great opportunity. I'm here. There are some young American boys and girls, they're interested in Krishna consciousness. There's a great scope for preaching Krishna consciousness here. Let's cooperate. This is what our Guru he wants. And Prabhupada was saying, even writing to different his God brothers, you can be the head of the institution. I'll just be your servant here. Prabhupada, he wasn't insisting on that. He should be the leader. He said, if you want, you be the leader. I'll just be your servant. But there was no response. And it's funny thing is also Prabhupada in one sense knew that. He wrote to one disciple about this attempting to get God brothers to cooperate. I said it's hopeless, but still I'm hopeful. In spite of this hopeless, I'm always hopeful. That was Prabhupada, something about Prabhupada. He was always hopeful, even though in cases where it looks completely hopeless, but still, it's our duty to try. And therefore, in one sense, someone who has that mood, actually, ultimately it's not hopeless. It's always hopeful. Krishna, he reciprocates with someone like that. But Prabhupada, he was always emphasizing this mood of cooperation. He was able to himself create cooperation around himself. That's also one of the amazing things about why Prabhupada, he was such a leader. How could he be, inspire so many? Well, that's also because he had this same quality. He was willing to do anything. Everyone knew that. Prabhupada, he wasn't like sitting in an ivory tower and just giving lectures down to the people like that. That was, of course, he ended up on big vyasasans. It wasn't himself. He didn't put himself in. They've always said, put him up there. And he accepted because it's the service of the Guru to accept worship. But that's not how he earned that position, simply by coming demanding himself to be worshipped. When Prabhupada he came alone. He tolerated any circumstance. He lived with Agrawals, just like a guest in the family. When he went and finally started, inviting devotees, they were not devotees at that time, but inviting guests, young people coming in from the street. And Prabhupada, he was doing anything and everything. He was cooking, and then he was leading the kirtan, and he was lecturing, and then he was serving out the prasadam. And then there was people saying this, eating like that. Then they would leave, and Prabhupada was there, and they would, and Prabhupada would clean the whole thing, and like that. He would do anything, and he wasn't thinking this is below him like that. No, sure, he was ecstatic. He's really close with his spiritual master. Of course, also he knew that, again, it's not realistic I should do everything, but he's willing to do everything, and everyone saw that example. Prabhupada, he's willing to do anything, and therefore, he was also able to inspire others. And then he was able to create this fantastic mood of cooperation in which the whole society is built, where everyone, was willing to, give whatever they had of energy and whatever to help Srila Prabhupada. You can see Prabhupada was here. He was, he was struggling alone. Let's help this old Swamiji, and he really, drew out from them to, they wanted to give everything, and they did that in a mood of complete cooperation. There are many problems. There's always problems when people get together. It's never. That's also one thing one has to understand. Cooperation doesn't mean smooth. It means always friction, and we have to bend and tolerate, and things don't go our way. That's the one thing we like to be controllers. I want, it should be like this and this and this. And then when things don't go like I expect, then I get frustrated or angry, and then I want to go away because But if you want to cooperate, that's one thing one has to tolerate. Things don't go my way. Actually, it's impossible. One has to learn how to bend and accept. Okay, it's meant to be like that. I still try to give my very best. That's it's the idea that we will get a situation where things will be just like it'll be like just like utopia. We will always be smiling, harmonious, and happy, and loving, and like that. Prabhupada wrote in a letter, this is Mayavad philosophy. But this is for Mayavadis who simply want to sit down, shanti, peaceful. Actually, when people get together, then there's no utopia. There's always different perspectives, disagreements, different moves, but the art is to get it to work together, and that's actually the spiritual world. The spiritual world is also like that, but it's not. I mean, there are problems in the spiritual world, but everyone is able to submit and for Krishna's satisfaction, and therefore it's actually very harmonious. But it's not probably like that later about utopia. Even in the spiritual world, there's no utopia as such. That's why I remember I have to check. But I mean, the different point is that we should not expect the kind of utopia, being with devotees. We move out in the country, and we have our cows, and we have our and it's nature, and it's peaceful, and everyone is nice and like that. It doesn't exist. These things don't exist. They exist in the Mayavadi's mind, and even but he's also not peaceful. You cannot be peaceful as a Mayavadi. It's impossible. It simply doesn't exist. Social dealings means there's always kind of friction, but the happiness and the peaceful one, that one experiences, one does it for Krishna, one does it for Prabhupada, one does it for the sake of devotees and so on. So that makes one peaceful, because one knows well, they are satisfied. I may be disturbed. They are satisfied. That makes one very, very peaceful. So and actually this when Srup Prabhupada points this out, this is actually the yoga, the process. We might think cooperation is just something practical, but it's actually our process of yoga and self-realization is to learn the art of how to cooperate. It brings us directly in, it's the preparation for existing in the spiritual world, where there are souls and persons, and actually the whole spiritual world is just persons. There's nothing that's not persons in the spiritual world. That's really a challenge. Whatever you sit on, whatever you touch, the air you're breathing, it's all persons you're into. There's nothing but persons. So be preparing ourselves for the spiritual world by learning how to live close together and cooperate, and take whatever it takes to cooperate. And I say not even that, but if we really learn it, then we are in the spiritual world, and we're experiencing here probably in this purport he talks about liberated souls, how they experience the different kinds of rasa, shanta, dasya, sakya, vatsalya, and madhurya rasa. And he even mentions that the original rasa, the adi rasa, is the conjugal rasa. So then this again is very high philosophy. One could get into all kinds of esoteric things, but again, how do we translate it into practical life where we are? And that is a great art, because actually, as I understand, it is completely available, including Adi Rasa. The conjugal rasa is actually available for us even at our present stage. But how is it attained? How is it actually attained? Something is very, in the